The throne chamber of the Zyra'eth Dominion was not built to welcome guests. It was built to remind them how small they were. The ceiling rose so high that it disappeared into shadows, supported by black crystal pillars carved with symbols of conquest and obedience. The floor reflected dim red light, polished smooth by centuries of fear. At the center of the chamber stood the throne, grown rather than built, shaped from living stone and organic metal. It pulsed faintly, as if breathing. Upon it sat Queen Zyra'eth. She was enormous, even by the standards of her species. Her body rose in uneven lines, armored plates overlapping without symmetry. One of her limbs was thicker than the others, scarred from ancient wars. Her face, if it could be called that, was a blend of sharp angles and deep-set sensory organs, marked by ritual burns that never healed. To her people, beauty meant balance, perfection, and dominance. She had none of those. The court below her stood in perfect formation. High nobles, war commanders, priest-scientists, every one of them beautiful by their standards. Smooth armor. Clean symmetry, not a flaw among them. They never looked directly at their queen unless commanded. It was not respect, it was discomfort. Queen Zyra'eth noticed everything. She always had. She noticed the way their eyes slid away from her shape. She noticed how they praised her victories, but never her presence. She noticed that no statues were made in her image, only abstract symbols of power. Power was safe. She was not. Today, a new species stood before her. Humans. They were small, soft. Their bodies lacked natural armor. Their faces were strangely expressive, muscles shifting constantly. Their eyes were forward-facing, not wide and alert like prey, but focused like predators. That had earned them a little respect, very little. They had entered galactic space only decades ago. Too fast, too confident, too noisy. The Dominion had taken notice and summoned them, not to negotiate, but to observe. No species entered this chamber as equals. The human delegation stood at the base of the throne steps. Soldiers in simple uniforms flanked a single figure who stepped forward when commanded. His name, according to the translators, was Elias Morgan. He was not impressive. He was average in height for a human male, with dark hair already showing signs of age. His uniform bore no medals meant to intimidate. His posture was straight but not rigid. He did not smell of fear chemicals like most species did when brought here. That alone caused a small ripple of unease among the court. Queen Zyra'eth studied him in silence. Long silence was one of her weapons. Many had broken under it. Many had begged before she spoke a single word. Elias Morgan did not beg. He waited. His eyes moved slowly across the chamber, not in panic, but in curiosity. When they finally lifted to the throne, several nobles stiffened. Direct eye contact was forbidden unless ordered. Queen Zyra'eth did not order him to look away. Instead, she leaned forward slightly. The throne responded, adjusting to her weight. Her voice, when it came, was deep and layered, resonating through the chamber and inside every listener's bones. "Human," she said, "you stand before the queen of 1,000 conquered systems. You will speak only when commanded." "Yes, Your Majesty," Elias said calmly. The translator rendered his words perfectly. His tone was respectful, but there was something else beneath it, not arrogance, not fear, familiarity. The queen felt a strange irritation at that. She questioned him about humanity's expansion, their military capacity, their alliances. Elias answered each question clearly, without exaggeration or excuses. He did not boast. He did not downplay. He spoke as if facts were enough. That, too, was unusual. As the questioning continued, Queen Zyra'eth became aware of something else. The longer the human spoke, the less she felt like a monster being judged. But he was listening, not just waiting for his turn to speak, but truly listening. His eyes focused on her when she spoke, not her guards, not the weapons lining the walls. Her, no one did that. The court murmured quietly among themselves. This human was breaking unspoken rules and not being punished for it. Some wondered if the queen was testing him. They were wrong. Queen Ziraef was not testing the human. She was testing herself. A thought rose unbidden in her mind, old and heavy. It had been there since her ascension, buried beneath conquest and blood. It slipped through her defenses before she could stop it. I am not beautiful, human. The chamber froze. The nobles stiffened in horror. A queen did not speak such things. A ruler did not reveal absence. Silence was power. Admission was weakness. Elias Morgan blinked. For a moment, Queen Ziraef thought she had finally broken him. Perhaps fear would come now. Or clever flattery. Or a lie meant to soothe. Instead, something else happened. He smiled. It was not a wide grin or mockery. It was small, gentle, almost reflexive, as if he smiled the way others breathed. I don't think beauty works the same way for us, he said. The translator hesitated for a fraction of a second, struggling with meaning rather than words. Queen Ziraef felt something shift inside her chest cavity. Not pain, not anger, disorientation. What does that mean? She demanded, her voice sharper than before. Elias did not rush his answer. He chose his words carefully, as if speaking to someone who mattered. On Earth, he said, we learned a long time ago that perfect things break easily. What lasts is what survives. What adapts, what protects others. The court erupted into outrage. Several nobles demanded punishment. A commander reached for a ceremonial weapon. Queen Ziraef raised one clawed limb. Silence returned instantly. She stared down at the human, her reflection warped faintly in his eyes. She saw her scars, her uneven form, the marks of survival written into her body. And you find that beautiful? She asked quietly. Elias hesitated. This time there was uncertainty, not fear, care. I find it meaningful, he said. And where I come from, meaning lasts longer than beauty. No one in the chamber breathed. Queen Ziraef leaned back into her throne. Her mind raced. This human had not insulted her. He had not praised her. He had not tried to control the moment. He had simply answered honestly. That was more dangerous than any weapon. She dismissed the court without explanation. Shock rippled through the chamber as nobles withdrew, whispering urgently. Guards escorted the human delegation away. Though Elias looked back once, curiosity still clear on his face, Queen Ziraef remained alone. For the first time in centuries, the throne room felt empty rather than oppressive. She looked down at her own form, at the scars that told stories no one had ever asked to hear. She replayed the human smile in her mind, trying to understand why it unsettled her more than hatred ever had. Outside the chamber, the galaxy continued as it always had, afraid, obedient, unchanged. Inside, something fragile had begun to move, and Queen Ziraef did not yet know whether to crush it or protect it. Queen Ziraef did not sleep. Her species did not require rest in the way humans did, but even so, rulers often entered meditative cycles to quiet their minds. This cycle never came. Her thoughts moved in circles, returning again and again to the same image, a human smile. Not fear, not praise, not submission, just a smile. The throne chamber remained empty. Long after the court had been dismissed, the lights dimmed as the living walls shifted into a passive state, sensing the queen's lack of command. Usually, the silence brought her clarity. Tonight, it only made the memory louder. I find it meaningful. The words echoed inside her. Meaningful. The concept felt foreign. Her people valued outcome, not meaning. Victory, not intention. Beauty was measured in dominance, not endurance. And yet the human had spoken as if survival itself carried worth. Queen Zairaeth rose from the throne. The living structure adjusted automatically, pulling away from her form. She moved slowly across the chamber, her heavy limbs echoing against the floor. No servants rushed to assist her. She had ordered privacy. At the edge of the chamber, a thin wall of light shimmered into existence. A private data interface responded to her neural command. Human records flooded the space. She had ordered the information earlier, but now she truly looked. There were war records, as expected. Human conflicts were frequent and chaotic. They fought each other almost as often as they fought external threats. That should have made them weak. Instead, they endured. She saw images of human soldiers carrying wounded allies through fire. Not commanders, not leaders, ordinary units refusing to leave anyone behind. She saw memorials built not to celebrate conquest, but loss. Names carved into stone. Flowers placed where bodies no longer lay. She paused at one file. Art. Paintings made by humans with damaged limbs. Music composed by those who could no longer fight. Stories written about failure, about regret, about hope that survived despite reason. None of it made sense. And yet, it did not feel false. Queen Zairaeth felt an unfamiliar pressure in her chest cavity. Her species had no word for it. It was not pain. It was not weakness. It was awareness. Elsewhere in the palace, the court was anything but calm. Nobles gathered in private chambers, voices sharp and urgent. The queen's words had shaken them. Worse, her silence afterward terrified them. She revealed imperfection, one noble hissed. Before an outsider. She dismissed us, another said, without punishment, without explanation. A military commander struck the table with a clenched claw. Humans are manipulators. Their faces show false emotion. The queen is being influenced. Then we must remind her of strength, a priest-scientist replied coldly, before the galaxy notices. Because the galaxy always noticed. Rumors moved faster than ships. Other factions watched the Dominion closely, waiting for cracks. A queen who doubted herself was not just dangerous to her people. She was an opportunity. The humans, meanwhile, were confined to guest quarters deep within the palace. Comfortable by galactic standards, but guarded. Elias Morgan stood near the window, looking out over the alien city. The structures were tall and sharp, grown rather than built. Traffic moved in ordered patterns, precise and cold. The entire city felt controlled. Behind him, members of the human delegation argued in low voices. "You shouldn't have said that," one whispered. "You don't tell a conqueror how you feel." "I didn't," Elias replied calmly. "I answered her question." "That's worse," another said. She didn't ask for honesty. She asked for weakness. Elias said nothing. His thoughts were elsewhere. He had not planned the smile. It had come naturally. Something in the queen's voice had been familiar. He had heard it before, in veterans who outlived their wars, in leaders who carried scars no one thanked them for. He wondered if she understood the danger now surrounding her. A summons came hours later. Not public, not formal, private. The guards escorted Elias alone through corridors that twisted and shifted subtly as they passed, the palace responding to the queen's will. He noticed the absence of ceremony. No crowds, no court. This was not a display of power. This was a conversation. He entered a smaller chamber, circular and dim, illuminated by soft bioluminescent patterns. Queen Zairaeth waited there, not on a throne, but standing. Up close, she was even more imposing. Her scars were deeper, her asymmetry more obvious. Elias felt the weight of her presence press against him. And yet, she did not feel threatening. "You were not ordered to smile," she said.
"No," Elias replied. "I wasn't. Why did you—" He considered lying. It would have been safer.
"I thought you deserved one," he said instead. Her sensory organs flared slightly. "Deserved? You spoke honestly," he said. "Where I'm from, that matters." Silence stretched between them. The queen studied him, searching for deception. She found none. "You do not fear me," she said. "I respect you," Elias replied. "Fear's different. Explain." "Fear makes people lie. Respect makes them listen." The queen turned away, gazing at the wall patterns as they shifted slowly, responding to her neural activity. "My people listen because they must." "That's not listening," Elias said softly. "That's surviving." She faced him again.
You challenge my rule. I'm explaining your strength, he said. Whether you use it or not is your choice.
Another long pause.
"Humans value weakness," she said finally. "We value truth," Elias corrected.
Weakness just happens to be part of it. The queen's mind returned to the data she had reviewed, to the wounded soldiers, to the art, to survival without perfection. "You protect what is broken," she said. "We protect what's ours," Elias replied, broken or not. Something shifted again within her. Smaller this time. More controlled. "You will remain," she said. "I have more questions." Elias nodded. "I'll answer if I can." When he was escorted out, Queen Ziraeth remained still. She was aware now of eyes upon her, sensors, watchers, whispers. Her court was restless. Other factions were watching, and the humans were changing things simply by being present. That night, she made a decision that would have once seemed unthinkable. She ordered the human delegation granted access to public spaces. No chains. No intimidation. The reaction was immediate. Nobles protested. Commanders warned of assassination risk. Advisors spoke of tradition. Queen Ziraeth silenced them all with a single command pulse. "This is my will," she said. "Test it, and you will learn what fear truly is." The city watched as humans walked openly among Dominion citizens. Smaller species stared. Some recoiled. Others observed with curiosity. Elias noticed something strange. Some of the Queen's own people looked at the humans with envy. Because humans laughed. They talked. They touched one another casually, without dominance. They showed connection openly. And connection was dangerous. Deep within the palace, a plot began to form. If the Queen would not correct her weakness, then perhaps the galaxy would do it for her. A single assassination would solve many problems. As the plan took shape, Queen Ziraeth stood alone once more, looking out over her city. She thought of the humans' words, of meaning, of survival. For the first time, she wondered not how long her rule would last, but what kind of ruler she had been, and whether it was already too late to change. The city of the Ziraeth Dominion had never felt uncertain before. Its streets were always ordered. Its citizens moved with purpose, guided by law and fear in equal measure. But now, something new had entered the air. Whispers followed the humans wherever they walked. Some were curious. Some were afraid. Some were angry. Queen Ziraeth felt it all. From the highest levels of the palace, she sensed the subtle changes in behavior patterns, the slight delays in command responses, the rise in unauthorized communications. Her people were unsettled. So was the galaxy. Long-range sensors detected increased traffic near Dominion borders. Foreign fleets did not cross into her space, but they lingered, watching, waiting. A ruler who questioned herself invited challenge. Her advisors urged caution. Her generals urged force. And still, the humans remained. Elias Morgan had been granted permission to move freely within certain districts, always accompanied by guards, but no longer treated as a prisoner. He spoke with workers, traders, lower-ranked officials. He listened far more than he spoke. That alone made him dangerous. One evening, as artificial light dimmed across the city, Elias noticed something wrong. The guards escorting him were tense. Their formation tightened. Their communication signals spiked briefly, then went silent. "What's happening?" Elias asked quietly. No answer. Then the air changed. A sharp vibration rippled through the ground, too subtle for an explosion, too controlled for an accident. Elias felt it through his feet, through his bones. Instinct told him to move. Before he could speak, a flash of light tore through the street behind them. The blast was focused, precise, an assassination attempt. The guards reacted instantly, forming a shield wall between Elias and the source. Energy fire cut through the air. Civilians scattered, panic breaking the city's calm like glass. Elias didn't freeze. He ran, not away, toward the fallen guard nearest to him. The guard's armor was damaged, one limb useless. Elias grabbed him, dragging him behind a reinforced structure as another blast struck where they had stood seconds before. "Stay with me," Elias said, even though he knew the translator might not catch the urgency. Security forces swarmed the area within moments. The attackers were neutralized quickly, their bodies dissolving as fail-safe systems activated. Professionals, foreign-backed. Queen Zareth felt the attack the instant it happened. Her mind flared with fury. Not blind rage, but something colder. They had attacked under her rule, in her city, and they had endangered a guest she had personally protected. The response was immediate. Palace defenses activated. Border fleets shifted to combat readiness. Every channel in the Dominion carried a single command signal. Find everyone involved. She arrived at the scene moments later, towering over the wreckage. Her presence alone forced silence. Civilians dropped to the ground. Guards knelt. Her gaze locked onto Elias. He was kneeling beside the injured guard, applying pressure to a damaged joint with his bare hands, ignoring the burn marks on his own arms. His face was tight with focus. The Queen moved closer. "You are harmed," she said. "Not badly," Elias replied without looking up. "He is." The guard stared at Elias, stunned. No one had ever touched him without authority. No one had ever prioritized him over their own safety. Queen Zareth looked down at them both. Something inside her snapped into place. She lifted the guard effortlessly and ordered immediate medical transport. As the area cleared, she turned to Elias. "You should have fled," she said. "I couldn't," Elias replied. "Someone needed help. That was not your responsibility." Elias finally met her gaze. "It was my choice." The words echoed louder than weapons ever had. That night, the truth emerged. The assassination attempt had been coordinated by a coalition of rival factions, aided by dissidents within the Dominion itself. High-ranking nobles, military strategists, those who believed fear was the only language of rule. They believed the Queen had grown weak. They believed humanity was the cause. They believed removal was the solution. The conspirators moved faster than expected. Before arrests could be completed, the coalition launched a direct assault at the Dominion's outer defense ring. Not a full invasion. A test. They expected hesitation. They did not get it. Queen Zareth addressed her commanders with a clarity that left no doubt. "They will not take my space," she said. "They will not decide my worth, and they will not touch those under my protection." The fleets moved. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. The Dominion's forces were powerful, disciplined, terrifying, but the Coalition had numbers and unpredictability. The first clashes were brutal, fast, and costly. Then the humans spoke. Elias stood before the Queen and her war council, his arm bandaged, his uniform scorched. "We can help," he said. Laughter rippled through the chamber, not mockery, disbelief. "You are outmatched," a commander said. "Your ships are fragile." "True," Elias replied, "but we adapt fast, and we don't fight the way you expect." Queen Ziraeth studied him. "Explain." "We don't aim to dominate," he said. "We aim to survive together." Human ships joined the defensive line. They were smaller, faster, less armored, but they moved like living things, adjusting in real time, communicating constantly, covering weaknesses without being ordered. When a Dominion cruiser lost shields, 2 human vessels slid into position, drawing fire away despite heavy damage. When a human ship was crippled, Dominion fighters closed ranks around it without command. The Coalition faltered. This was not fear-based coordination. This was trust. On the battlefield, Queen Ziraeth watched feeds stream into her mind. She saw humans reroute power to allies. She saw Dominion captains break formation to save human crews. She saw something impossible. Her people choosing. The Coalition retreated, shocked and bloodied. The test had failed. But the war was not over. During the final withdrawal, a strike slipped through. A stealth projectile, aimed not at a ship, but at the command platform where Queen Ziraeth oversaw the battle. Alarms screamed. Too late. The impact rocked the platform. Systems failed. Gravity faltered. The Queen was thrown from her position as energy tore through the structure. Elias felt it. He didn't think. He moved. As the platform destabilized, he reached her, grabbing onto a damaged support and pulling himself toward her massive form. The force was crushing. Alarms deafening. "Let go!" Queen Ziraeth ordered. "You will die! So will you!" Elias shouted back. Not happening. He anchored a tether, looping it around one of her armored limbs, locking it into the structure. The strain ripped the tether's housing apart, burning his hands. It held. Emergency systems reactivated. The platform stabilized enough for rescue units to arrive. When it was over, Elias collapsed. Queen Ziraeth caught him. Her hands, capable of tearing starship hulls, held him carefully. His life signs were weak but steady. The battlefield fell silent as victory spread through the fleet. The Queen looked down at the human in her grasp. He had risked everything. Not for power, not for conquest, for her. In that moment, the galaxy changed, because the Queen of the Ziraeth Dominion understood something at last. Humans were not dangerous, because they were strong. They were dangerous because they chose to care. And she knew, with terrifying certainty, that the galaxy would never be the same again.